Now, probably the only guy that you're going to see is full face for the rest of the day. We're going to pivot to a little bit of a virtual presentation. Our buddy Tamas Houlihan, who is Executive Director of the Wisconsin Potato and Vegetable Growers Association, joining us virtually. We cannot forget in Wisconsin, where our agriculture is so diverse, the specialty crop situation. And Tamas has got a pretty good handle on that. I will step out of the way and turn the table over to Tamas Houlihan from the Wisconsin Potato and Vegetable Growers. Morning, Tamas.
Good morning. I hope you can all hear me well. I'm going to give you the Wisconsin Specialty Crops overview. I am the Executive Director of the Wisconsin Potato and Vegetable Growers Association. And so let's get started. And of course, my slideshow is not it. All right, let's use this. So Wisconsin ranks third in the nation for potato production. We're first east of the Mississippi River. The states of Idaho and Washington are always number one and number two in U.S. potato production. And just a little bit of background information for those of you who aren't familiar with Wisconsin Potato and Vegetable Growers Association. Our mission is to advance the interests of our members through education, information, environmentally sound research, promotion, governmental action, and involvement. We were founded in 1948 and headquartered in Antigo, Wisconsin. We are funded by an 8-cent per hundredweight assessment on potatoes sold in Wisconsin. And all growers are on 3 to 4 year rotations that include the other crops, primarily vegetables for processing. But we're only funded by this potato assessment, so about 90% of our work is focused on the potato crop. We have 110 grower members, 183 associate division members, those are all the suppliers to the industry, and then 160 auxiliary members, which is a group of very dedicated women who also promote and educate about potatoes. In terms of potato production, Wisconsin raised 65,000 acres of potatoes. Actually, that's the harvested acreage number in 2021. We planted a few more than that, but as you'll see as I get into my presentation, we lost a few last year. Our average yield was 420 hundredweight per acre, and that's a pretty good average. It generally fluctuates between a little over 400 to as high as maybe 440 in a good year. We produced 27.3 million hundredweight of potatoes, which is a pretty good yield. We typically average around 25 million hundredweight. And that value was $327 million for 2021. The crop is broken down into 4 major sectors. We're primarily a fresh market state. 37% of our crop goes to the fresh market, which is table stock potatoes that you would buy at the grocery store. We do have a large chipping industry. 27% of our crop goes to potato chips. 23% goes to the processed frozen industry. That would be French fries, hash browns, tater tots, and the like. And that's primarily at McCain Foods, a frozen processor in Clover. And then we also have a very robust seed potato industry in our state. 13% of our crop is dedicated to seed production. And those potatoes look just like any other potato, but then they are kept incredibly disease and virus free, very clean seed. And that is sent out to commercial growers who then raise the fresh, the processed frozen chip. For vegetable production, Wisconsin ranks in the top 5 nationally in the production of 8 major vegetables. We lead the country in the production of snap beans, which are basically green beans, beets, and cabbage, primarily cabbage for kraut. We are second in the nation in terms of peas and carrots, both for processing. We are third in the nation in potato production and sweet corn processing. We are 5th in the country in terms of cucumbers for pickles, and we're also a top 10 producer of onions. And so when you add up all these different veggie categories, Wisconsin is number 2 in the nation overall, behind only California in terms of vegetable production. Our top potato producing counties are Portage, Adams, Waushara, Langlade, and Juneau. So the potato crop, as I said, we're number 3 in the US. We produced 27.3 million hundredweight in 2021, and that's up about 4% over the 2020 crop. The price is about $12 per hundredweight, and that's an average across all these different uses. And the price does vary considerably depending on how the potato is used. Even within the fresh market, some years there are very large potatoes and a lot of them. Other years they can be smaller. And so we ship out a lot of cartons of potatoes where they're all trying to match a similar size. And so in some years, the larger potatoes are a lot more valuable. In other years, they may not be. It all depends on how the production comes out. But again, we take an average across all these different uses, and it's about $12 per hundredweight. And that's an increase of 12% over 2020. It was a very challenging growing season for potatoes in 2021. We had a very early spring, which was great. We were able to plant in early April, but that was followed by a very cold month of May, and the potatoes just kind of sat in the ground. There wasn't much germination. There wasn't great emergence. And then there was a minor frost Memorial weekend. It wasn't super cold, but it was cold enough to nip some of the plants that were just starting to emerge. And so that hurt the crop a little bit. And then that was followed by that extremely high heat and drought conditions for the first 2 weeks of June, where we had temperatures in the 90s for 2 weeks straight. That's not good. July was more normal, but then later in August, the Central Stands received 11 inches of rain over 4 days. And it was mostly concentrated in the Plainfield Bancroft area, and that affected about 2,000 acres. Fortunately, all of this was followed by the best harvest season in memory throughout September and October. Some of those very wet fields dried out, and we only lost about 1,000 acres to drown out, which is still significant, but it wasn't as bad as it could have been. And so overall, in the end, we saw very good yields and good quality for the majority of the crop. And we have strong demand, and that should continue to bring good prices well into 2022. Contract prices are expected to increase 15 to 25% due to the increased cost of production across the board. Our expectation of net returns is about $500 to $800 per acre, where our cost of production is about $4,000 to $4,500. Snap beans, #1 producer in the U.S. We don't have any of these veggie crops, USDA production figures for 2021 yet. Those are going to be released on February 16th. And so just for a frame of reference, I included the 2020 statistics, some of these veggie crops. We had 56,600 acres of snap beans in 2020 and 5.66 million hundredweight of production. For processing, we had 272,529 tons of green beans at a $26.3 million value. The bean crop, the price varies by the company and the variety of bean. We did have some exceptional yields in 2021. The average yields are about 6.5 tons per acre, and some growers reported over 8 tons per acre with a return of nearly $1,000 per acre. Average yields returned around $700 to $750 per acre in 2021. Overall, some good fields, some poor, but it was a good, profitable crop in 2020. Sweet corn, we're #3 in the U.S. 2020 stats show that we had 57,100 acres and 9.99 million hundredweight. Our processing sweet corn was 478,131 tons and a $33.6 million value. The price on sweet corn is approximately $81 a ton for the 2021 crop, and that's up significantly from $70 per ton in 2020. And it was a good crop year in 2021. The yields were 10 to 11 tons per acre across a range of different varieties, which is above average. We expect similar acreage in 2022, along with a significant price increase, again in that 15 to 20% range. Peas were the #2 pea producer in the United States. 2020 stats show we had 27,700 acres and 1.14 million hundredweight pea production. For processing, we had 56,274 tons of peas at a $13.3 million value. And so peas, the price is subject to tenderometer reading. And if they take the peas early enough and hit the mid-range on the tenderometer readings, which is about 100 to 110, the price per ton is very high. It's $289, $310 per ton. But if the processors wait longer, as was the case in 2021, the tenderometer reading ends up generally to be in the 130 and up range, which lowers the price. It puts the price more at like $211 per ton. Our early peas were hit hard by the heat, and yields were down around the 2,500 pound per acre average, with readings from 105 to 125 on the tenderometer. So the price was good, but the yields were down. And then the later peas were better with yields of 5,200 pounds per acre. However, the tenderometer readings were 130 plus, and so the price was low. So the 2021 pea crop overall was mixed. It was average at best. Growers do expect similar acreage in 2022 with a significant price increase expected as well. Carrots were number 2 in the U.S. 2020, we had 3,500 acres, 1.82 million hundredweight of production, and $8.48 million value. We had an exceptional carrot crop in 2021, higher yields than expected. There was ample rainfall, high germination levels, and that heat really didn't hurt carrots too badly in June. A normal yield is 28, 30 tons per acre. Yields in 2021 hit 35 to 36 tons per acre. So returns were about $3,000 to $3,200 per acre. Early indications are that volume may be reduced in 2022, and that's simply a supply and demand issue. Production and prices were excellent in 2021. We do expect a price increase again in 2022, but there will also be a volume reduction. Cranberries. We don't do anything with cranberries. We have a couple of potato farms that do raise them, but all this information was graciously provided by Tom Lochner, the Wisconsin Cranberry Growers Association. So thank you, Tom. And the production was down about 20% in Wisconsin. We are the nation's largest producer of cranberries. A typical Wisconsin harvest will have about 5 to 5.5 million barrels produced. In 2020, we had 4.6 million barrels, and in 2021, it's estimated to be at about 4.1 million barrels. And the overall North American crop was below average. Overall inventories of fruit are low due to reduced crops in 2019, 2020, and 2021, as well as an increase in demand for shelf-stable juices during the pandemic. Growers face the challenges of strong demand for cranberry juice and dried cranberries, but due to short supply of fruit, they will likely see a reduction in overall receipts from the 2021 crop. Now, prices are rebounding. They're up from about $35 a barrel to about $40 per barrel. And so growers are profitable after 3 to 4 years of losses. Juice sales increased following COVID-19. And that's similar to a lot of our canned vegetables as well. We've seen really significant increases in demand. More people are eating at home, and so they're buying these products at the grocery store, bringing them home. So overall, 2021 was a good year for potatoes, sweet corn, and carrots. We had mixed results on snap beans and peas. Cranberries production is down, but prices are up. It's the first profitable year in the last 3 or 4 for our cranberry growers. And so going into 2022, the growers are cautiously optimistic, but inflation and rising cost of production has growers concerned. Contract prices really need to increase by 20% or more just to maintain pace with the rising cost of production. So with that, I can take any questions, or if we want to bring our full panel out to take questions, it's fine to do it that way as well. Thank you.